Floor is yours, Mr. Chair.
Good morning, everybody. I am Yasha Franklin Hodge. I'm the chair of the Public Improvement Commission, and I call to order the PIC hearing of October 24th, 2024. Mr. Liming, would you please take the roll call?
Would the representative from the Public Works Department please state their name for the record?
Yasha Franklin Hodge.
Transportation Department.
Amy Gordon.
Inspectional Services Department.
Brian Ronan.
Water and Sewer Commission.
Denise Devlin.
Commission for Persons with Disabilities.
Patricia Mendez.
We do not have somebody from Property Management, but we do have a quorum.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Todd. All right, on to our first agenda item, the hearing minutes. At the request of the Public Improvement Commission staff, the acceptance of the minutes of the PIC hearing held on October 10th, 2024. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of October 10th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstain? So moved. On to our next item, public hearing continued number 1 on a joint petition by the City of Boston Transportation Department and the City of Boston Public Works Department for the making of specific repairs within the following public ways in South Boston, consisting of curb realignment, roadway and sidewalk reconstruction, as well as new and relocated pedestrian ramps, traffic signal infrastructure, street lighting infrastructure, hydrants, driveway curb cuts, raised crosswalks, protected bicycle facilities, and median islands. Old Colony Avenue, generally between Joseph Agri Street and Mitchell Street. Dorchester Street, generally between Tuckerman Street and Reverend Richard A. Burke Street. Mitchell Street, generally at Old Colony Avenue. This was new business on September 26th and it had its first public hearing on October 10th. And is shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department Engineering Division Specific Repair Plan, Old Colony Avenue and Dorchester Street, South Boston, 5 sheets dated September 18th, 2024. Would the proponents please introduce themselves and their affiliations and give us a brief update on any changes since your last hearing?
Good morning, Commissioners. John Monticelli, Public Works with the Infrastructure and Design team. We are here requesting another extension for public hearing. We met with the developers in the interim from last public hearing, and we were not able to come to like a concrete and confirmation of who is to do what work and kind of how to split it up. So requesting another delay for public hearing to the November 7th. Yes.
All right, no problem. Happy to provide that, and hopefully that will be sufficient time for the developer to and you to come to some clarity on this. Let me know if I can help. Do you hear a motion to continue? Public hearing continued number 1 to November 7th.
I'll make a motion to continue public hearing continued item number 1 as read into the record by the chair to November 7th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstain? So moved. Thank you, John. See you in a couple weeks.
Sorry for making you read that a couple hundred times.
That's all right. That's all right.
Thanks. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thanks, John. All right, on to our next item, public hearing number 1. And this is a series of, I believe, 6 public hearing items related to the same project. We'll read each one one at a time, and we'll ask proponents to introduce themselves each time. But we'll confine the discussion to each item as it is heard. So, public hearing number 1 on a joint petition by NEM Building A LLC and the Boston Housing Authority for the discontinuance of any and all rights to travel the public may have had within segments of the following public ways in South Boston: General Lawrence J. Logan Way from General Devine Way to a point southeast of Monsignor O'Callahan Way, Monsignor Dennis F. O'Callahan Way from General Logan Way to a point southwesterly, This was new business on October 10th, as shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division Discontinuance Plan, General Lawrence J. Logan Way, Monsignor Dennis F. O'Callahan Way, Public Ways, South Boston, 2 sheets dated October 18th, 2024. The petitioners please introduce themselves, their affiliations. If you do want to provide a very brief overview of the project, again, for the record, for this, at the start of this first item, I won't make you do that each time, but just quick refresh, and then let us know about any changes to the discontinuance portion of your proposal since your last hearing.
Thank you, Commissioners. My name is Drew Colbert. I work for Wing Development, the proponent constructing MEM Building A in partnership with the Boston Housing Authority and the Mary Ellen McCormick Tenant Task Force. Mary Ellen McCormick Building A is the first in the 17 building redevelopment of the Mary Ellen McCormick Public Housing Community in South Boston. The first of, I believe, 5 public hearing items related to this project today is to begin to establish a new street grid, better integrating our proposed mixed income redevelopment of this public housing community to the Andrew Square and Dorchester neighborhoods located between Andrew Square and Preble Circle. The project of MEM Building A will consist of 94 deeply affordable replacement housing units for existing Mary Ellen McCormick residents, while the enhancements to the public realm include the realigned street grid, a new separated cycle track, new sidewalks, rain gardens, and a public park that is going to be a relocation of existing veterans memorials with the inclusion of a tot lot and playground for the enjoyment of all, not only in Mary Ellen McCormick, but also the broader South Boston community. So I'll turn it over to the rest of my team to talk about each petition specifically, but thank you again for your time and consideration for this important affordable housing project.
Good morning, my name is Sarah Eba from VHB, the site civil engineer. As we mentioned, the first petition for you today is the discontinuance of the portion of Logan Way and O'Callahan Way as described and shown on the plans here. Since the first hearing of new business on October 10th, there have been no changes to the discontinuance plans themselves, but happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, any questions or comments on the discontinuance? And just to confirm, there was some discussion about utilities in this public way at the last hearing. Are there any updates on that or any additional clarification about the, there's some discussion of capping off some of the utilities and relocating, but any additional updates from the last hearing on that?
Yeah, so I had reviewed that with Todd, and Todd, if there's any discussion points you want to hit. Essentially, the utilities that are to remain in this discontinuance area will continue to be in future public right-of-ways. There will be no sort of city utilities that remain here that would require an easement to the city through this project.
Got it. Excellent. Great to hear. All right. Hearing no other commissioner questions, PIC staff or members of the public?
I am all set on this one. I will take this opportunity to remind the public, if you wish to ask questions or add testimony to any of our hearing actions today, please use the raised hand function at the bottom of your screen. I'll give it a minute. I don't see any right now, so I think we're good.
All right. Do I hear a motion to approve public hearing number 1?
I'll make a motion to approve a joint petition by MEM Building A LLC and the Boston Housing Authority for discontinuance in General Lawrence J. Logan Way and Monsignor Dennis F. O'Callahan Way as read into the record by the chair.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any
Aye.
oppose or abstain? So moved. Thank you very much. On to public hearing number 2 on a joint petition by MEM Building A LLC and the Boston Housing Authority for the widening, relocation, and extension of the existing right-of-way lines of General Lawrence J. Logan Way, Public Way, South Boston from its northwesterly terminus to Major O'Connor Way. New business on October 10th as shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Widening, Relocation, and Extension Plan, General Lawrence J. Logan Way, Public Way, South Boston, one sheet dated October 18th, 2024. The petitioners please reintroduce themselves and their affiliations and let us know if there have been any changes to this plan since your last hearing.
Sarah Eba from VHB. No huge changes to this widening, relocation, and extension plan. The one change, which I think we can review a little bit deeper in the specific repairs plan, is there has been this installation and proposal of a speed hump here. Again, not really related to the widening, relocation, and extension, but that's the only change to this plan.
All right, commissioners, any questions? PIC staff or members of the public?
All set.
All right, do you hear a motion to approve public hearing number 2?
I'll make a motion to approve a joint petition by MEM Building A LLC and the Boston Housing Authority for the widening, relocation, and extension of General Lawrence J. Logan Way as read into the record by the chair.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed or abstain? So moved. On to public hearing number 3 on a joint petition by MEM Building A LLC and the Boston Housing Authority for the widening, relocation, and extension of the existing right-of-way lines of Monsignor Dennis F. O'Callahan Way, Public Way, South Boston, from its northeasterly terminus to General Logan Way. New business on October 10th as shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Widening, Relocation, and Extension Plan, Monsignor O'Callahan Way, Public Way, South Boston, one sheet dated October 18th, 2024. The petitioners please reintroduce themselves and their affiliations and let us know if there have been any changes since your last hearing.
Sarah Eba from VHB. There have been no changes to the specific plan since the new business hearing.
All right, commissioners, any questions or comments? All right, hearing none, PIC staff or members of the public?
Good on this one.
All right, do I hear a motion to approve public hearing number 3?
I'll make a motion to approve a joint petition by MEM Building A LLC and the Boston Housing Authority for the widening, relocation, and extension of Monsignor Dennis F. O'Callahan Way as read into the record by the chair.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstain? So moved. Thank you very much. On to public hearing number 4 on a joint petition by MEM Building A LLC and the Boston Housing Authority for the line and grade approval of a new public way in South Boston known as Veterans Way from General Devine Way at Mohawk Street to a point southerly at General Logan Way. This was new business on October 10th as shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department Engineering Division Line and Grade Plan Veterans Way, Public Way, South Boston, one sheet dated October 18th, 2024. Apologies. Would the petitioners please reintroduce themselves and their affiliations and give us a brief overview if there's been any changes since your new business hearing?
Thank you. Sarah Eba, VHB. With this plan as well, there have been no changes since the new business hearing.
All right. Commissioners, any questions? PIC staff or members of the public?
All set.
All right. Do I hear a motion to approve public hearing number 4?
I'll make a motion to approve a joint petition by MEM Building A LLC and the Boston Housing Authority for the line and grade approval in Veterans Way as read into the record by the chair.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed or abstain? So moved. On to public hearing number 5 on a joint petition by MEM Building A LLC and the Boston Housing Authority for the acceptance of 2 pedestrian easements adjacent to the following public ways in South Boston. General Lawrence J. Logan Way on its northerly side, generally between Veterans Way and Monsignor O'Callahan Way. General William H. Devine Way on southerly side east of Veterans Way. New business on October 10th, as shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department Engineering Division Pedestrian Easement Plan, General Lawrence J. Logan Way, General William H. Devine Way, and Veterans Way Public Ways, South Boston, one sheet dated October 18th, 2024. Petitioners, please reintroduce themselves and their affiliations and let us know if there have been any changes since your new business hearing.
Terry Bob, VHB, and there have been no changes to this plan since the new business hearing.
All right, commissioners, questions, comments? Hearing none, PIC staff or members of the public?
All set.
Do I hear a motion to approve public hearing number 5?
I'll make a motion to approve a joint petition by MEM Building A LLC and the Boston Housing Authority for the acceptance of 2 pedestrian easements in General Lawrence J. Logan Way and General William H. Devine Way, as read and directed by the chair.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed or abstain? So moved. On to public hearing number 6. On a joint petition by MEM Building A LLC and the Boston Housing Authority for the making of specific repairs within the following public ways in South Boston, consisting of curb realignment, roadway and sidewalk reconstruction with structural soil, as well as new and relocated pedestrian ramps, specialty pavement, street lighting infrastructure, street trees, planters, landscaping, green stormwater infrastructure, storm drain infrastructure, bike racks, trash receptacles, protected bicycle facilities, median islands, driveway curb cuts, speed humps, raised crosswalks, and a raised intersection. General William H. Devine Way, generally between Dorchester Avenue and Rogers Street. General Lawrence J. Logan Way, generally between Major O'Connor Way and Monsignor O'Callahan Way. Major Michael J. O'Connor Way, generally between Dorchester Avenue and General Logan Way. Veterans Way, between General Devine Way and General Logan Way. Monsignor Dennis F. O'Callahan Way, south of General Logan Way. This was new business on October 10th, as shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department Engineering Division Specific Repair Plan, General William H. Devine Way, General Lawrence J. Logan Way, Monsignor Michael J. O'Connor Way, Veterans Way, Major Michael J. O'Connor Way, Veterans Way, Monsignor Dennis F. O'Callahan Way, South Boston, 11 sheets dated October 18th, 2024. The petitioners please reintroduce themselves and their affiliation and let us know what has changed since your new business hearing.
Terry Bob, VHB, and these have changed a little bit since new business on October 10th. The changes mostly occur on Devine Way, so I will start there, and then just a couple minor improvements on the other streets that you mentioned. So this plan that I have on the screen right now is an overlay of the changes that have occurred on this plan since new business. We have been in discussions with a couple different groups and have had multiple meetings this week to review some improvements that the commission has requested on this roadway, mostly due to pedestrian accommodations and traffic calming measures. So the changes that have occurred, and I'll go over this quick overlay and then switch to the plan that we have updated. We have changed Mohawk and Veterans Way, the intersection with Devine, to a raised intersection. Previously, it was intersections with ramps on the new southern corners of the intersection, with the existing ramps to remain on the north. That has been adjusted again for a raised intersection at all 4 corners here. Going west down Devine, since this intersection has been replaced with a raised intersection, we had previously shown a speed hump here between Carpenter and Mohawk, but that's been removed. In discussions with Public Works Department, we did determine that the existing ramps across Carpenter Street at Devine were recently replaced and are compliant according to the City of Boston. So we have removed the proposed reconstruction of this curb ramp at the corner and removed the crossing highlighted in yellow. What we did there was shift this crossing to the east. There will be a new curb ramp located here, type A, and a crosswalk with an accessible curb ramp on the south side as well, just to make sure that we are not proposing an apex ramp at this corner. A speed hump has been proposed, and it's in a slightly different location, I'll show in a moment, but a speed hump here in between Dot Ave and Carpenter Street, since neither of those are raised intersections. And then the change at Dorchester Ave. Previously, we had reconstructed the curb ramp on the south side with the north side to remain. Again, in discussions with Public Works staff and the commission, we've shifted that crosswalk away from the intersection, provided a new curb ramp both on the north side and south side. So those existing ramps will be rebuilt, and the sidewalk will have a standard curb reveal prior to having the accessible curb ramp and crossing a bit east of Dorchester Ave. So this is the revised plans, again, just without the overlay and the new improvements. Minor changes to proposed drainage structures. There was an existing catch basin within this intersection that we are now proposing to relocate west on Divine to have it be at the bottom of the intersection to make sure all the runoff is getting captured. Crosswalks, accessible curb ramps, detectable warning panels, and this is the location of the new speed hump. So I will pause there. Again, there are minor changes. It's really locations of new speed humps on Logan and O'Connor for those specific repair plans, but I figured since these were the most changes, I'd pause here to see if there's any additional questions or comments.
Thanks, Sarah. And thank you, first of all, for the thoughtful evaluation of speed control on the street and the significant changes that are proposed to address some of the concerns that were raised in the last hearing. I guess one question, I see the crosswalk at Carpenter Street sort of shifting east of the intersection. And I think my question is just, generally we try to keep crosswalks aligned with the pedestrian desire lines, but it does look like that's now aligned with some kind of access to the buildings themselves. So could you just speak to sort of the decision to move that crosswalk east of the Carpenter Street intersection, the crosswalk over Divine to be east of the Carpenter Street intersection, and how you see that functioning from a pedestrian desired path of travel perspective?
Absolutely. I would agree. From an engineering perspective, we would want to keep it as close to the intersection as well for those pedestrian desire lines, like you mentioned. This is an intersection we reviewed in depth with Public Works staff. So these are the two accessible curb ramps across Carpenter Street at Divine that have recently been constructed here. So as you can see, this ramp on the east side of Carpenter Street was reconstructed so that it provides the straight and perpendicular crossing at Carpenter Street. If we were to reconstruct this ramp and have a crossing right at that intersection, it would turn that into an apex ramp, which we're trying to avoid, and understanding that staff is also doesn't want apex ramps proposed in the project as well. So what we have proposed is this level landing here from this accessible curb ramp at the existing light pole. Just past that point is when our new accessible curb ramp will begin, and then the crossing is proposed across Divine. As you mentioned, it does align well with emergency egress from Building A courtyard area, and I believe, Drew, this is, as you mentioned, the main access point to the bike room here at Building A. We did also place it east of Carpenter Street because since Divine in this location is a one-way going east to west towards Dot Ave, there's less concerns about sight distance and safety of pedestrians crossing here versus if we had the crossing on the west side of Carpenter Street. There would be a bit more sight distance issues with a car traveling south on Carpenter Street.
Got it. Thank you. That's very helpful. This can be done sort of offline or after this meeting, but when I look at that space between on Divine, on the north curb between where the crosswalk is proposed and the Carpenter Street intersection, it It's just about enough space to try to jam a car into, which would, I think, be problematic just from a general visibility perspective. So my ask is that you, if this issue has not already been discussed, I'm sure it will be signed as no parking, but if this issue has not already been discussed, talk with with Amy or the BTD team about the potential for some kind of vertical barrier like flex posts or something to just daylight that space and try to prevent vehicles from parking there or stopping there. I think that would be good just to ensure we're keeping that zone clear and pedestrian sight lines are unimpeded there.
We should at least start with daylighting pavement markings.
So, and just to make sure I'm understanding the location correctly, it's this area.
Exactly.
Okay. We do have a new sign proposed here that has this is the no parking sign.
Yeah.
So it is.
In the event that it goes unnoticed, the pavement markings will help, and then, right, if that's not working, we'll get to flex posts.
Yeah. So this is a minor change that can be done before the plans are finalized, but we certainly shouldn't hold up any approvals here.
Amy, I'll start to make sure to coordinate that.
Yeah, excellent, thank you. I see Patricia has her hand raised. Go right ahead.
Hi, Sarah. Thank you for your presentation. Yeah, a minor comment on the detectable warning strip on the raised intersection on the lower right. I see that there's a small gap from the two detectable warning strips, and yes, thank you. You read my mind. I would ask you to fill in the gap.
Perfect.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
Thank you. Yeah, we do have a minor couple of cleanup items. We were making sure to have this as well developed as we could with the design intent for today, but we will clean that up and make sure that the technical warning panel is one solid panel.
Perfect, wonderful. Thank you so much. This is a great design and a lot safer. Awesome.
Others will know better than I, perhaps Patricia, but my recollection is that we may also need to adjust the width of that crosswalk to pick up the complete detectable warning. So just want to make sure when we do the panel, we also make any necessary changes to the markings as well. But
Yeah, they should
I defer
meet.
to people. Yeah.
They should meet at, yeah, exactly. Also, right, before you get to the raised element, there's some additional chevrons that should probably appear. But yeah, none of this is important right now, but come have your pavement markings checked and signage prior to final.
Denise?
Oh, yes, thank you. I actually just had a comment. You had mentioned, Sarah, that you were shifting some of the catch basins. Yeah, if you can just make sure that that stuff gets included with the site plan process.
Yes, absolutely. We've been coordinating with Phil Rock. I have an updated set of plans for him within the next day or so, and this change will be reflected on that.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
All right, commissioners, any other questions, comments? All right, I will just say I don't think we have concerns about moving ahead with approval because there are some ramp changes happening here from this discussion. I will say any approval should be contingent on just final sign off from our the Public Works and the accessibility team, but I don't anticipate any issues here, but they may have some minor adjustments they need you to make, so we'll just need that final check. But again, it shouldn't hold up an action here today. With that, seeing no other commissioner comments, PAC staff or members of the public?
Sorry, I was muted. No more. I see no more hands, and I'm all set.
All right, excellent. Do I hear a motion to approve public hearing number 6?
I'll make a motion to approve a joint petition by MEM Building A LLC and the Boston Housing Authority for the making of specific repairs in General William H. Devine Way, General Lawrence J. Logan Way, Major McConnell J. O'Connor Way, Veterans Way, Monsignor Dennis F. O'Callahan Way, as read into the record by the chair.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed or abstain? So moved. Thank you all very much. Again, really appreciate the working with us on the safety, pedestrian safety aspects of this, and very excited to see this affordable housing project move ahead. So thank you for the work you're doing across the board on this.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, commissioners and staff.
All right, well, that concludes the public hearing section of our agenda, so we can move on to new business. Starting with new business 1, 700 Commonwealth Avenue, Boston proper, specific repairs, on a petition by the trustees of Boston University. Would the petitioners please introduce themselves, their affiliations, and talk us through what you are proposing to do?
Good morning, members of the commission. My name is Ken Ryan. I'm Assistant Vice President for Government and Community Affairs at Boston University. We're here today to present the streetscape improvements that will accompany our renovation of Warren Towers located at 700 Commonwealth Avenue. These improvements will continue BU's long-standing tradition of working collaboratively with the City of Boston to enhance public spaces and streetscapes along key corridors throughout the city. A quick description of the project: constructed in 1965, Warren Towers is the largest dormitory in Boston and the second largest non-military dormitory in the United States, housing 1,800 undergraduate students here at Boston University. The project site borders Commonwealth Avenue to the north, Cummington Mall to the south and west, and Hinsdale Mall to the east. The 18-story structure features 3 residential towers atop a 4-story podium, which includes student spaces, retail storefronts, and a parking garage. The proposed streetscape improvements will elevate both the campus environment as well as the public realm along this prominent corridor in the city of Boston. We'd like to take this moment to thank city staff for their thoughtful review and valuable comments over the course of the design review process for this project. And I will now turn it over to Chelsea Christensen from Niche Engineering to get into more details related to the streetscape.
Good morning. Thank you, Ken. Chelsea Christensen, Niche Engineering, civil engineer. For context, I have an aerial view here of Warren Towers in red with BU Bridge to the left and Mass Ave Bridge to the right here, and Light Park over to the bottom right. The specific repair improvements for the Warren Towers streetscape include approximately 12-foot wide concrete sidewalk along the length of Warren Towers. The basis of the improvements is really to make all the doors that you see, these red triangles, accessible. All of these are currently now steps or steep slopes up to these doors. And so a lot of the improvements that we're doing are to make the sidewalk an accessible cross slope. So to do that, we are proposing to extend this existing planter here. So we're reconstructing this planter, extending it a bit in order to make the cross slope to the sidewalk work. We're proposing a new planter here with some new street trees in order to get these doors to be accessible. This bus stop we've been discussing and will be relocated to another location to a more accessible condition. We could not make it fully accessible at this location. This will now have new bike racks at this location. I will show the full PIC drawings as well, but it's easier to see everything on one sheet on this drawing. We also have raised crossings at Hinsdale and Cummington, reconstructing pedestrian ramps at all 3 of these crossings and straightening out the crosswalks. These will all be 10-foot wide pedestrian ramps with coordination with the city. We have a porous paver strip along the back of curb with the under drain and additional bike racks throughout the open spaces in between. There's also a blue bike station existing to be removed and reset in its existing location here. We will also be removing and resetting the street lights to pull them back outside of the forest paver strip based on some discussions with the city, and I believe that is all of the improvements that we are proposing here. So I would ask if there's any further questions you have.
Would you be able to show the detailed plan set for this as well, just to have it on the record?
And we do have the updated widened pedestrian ramp here for 10 foot. That was the most recent change of the documents, the latest request that came in. Recently removed one of the bike racks here as it was a little too crowded at this location. All of these are as they have been shown. And then on the next page, blue bike station here, 10-foot ramps with the straightened crossings. These ramps are compliant by slope, but we're adding new tactile panels to them. We're still working out the details of the combined Extent and Verizon manhole to the Wi-Fi enabled light post that's being set here. We haven't settled on the exact location of this manhole, but we'll continue that coordination. And then, as I mentioned, the bus stop is no longer shown on this plan. It's been replaced with additional bike racks. And the Big Belly trash cans are now shown at this location, but if there are further comments on that, we're happy to discuss in more detail.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, questions?
Did you say you were moving a bus stop, adding a bus stop?
We are moving the existing bus stop that is currently located here.
To where?
Ken, has that been finalized or?
So we've been in close contact with folks at Boston Transportation Department, John Marticelli, Matthew Peterson, as a part of the rethinking of the 57 bus consolidation project that the MBTA is doing. We're fairly confident that the bus stop would be relocated to the east. Yeah, Chelsea, if you don't mind being able to pull it up on Google Maps, but essentially it'd be right at the corner of Commonwealth Avenue and Blandford Mall. Yeah, so right in that location right there. There was a recommendation by the MBTA that we worked with the city on, essentially agreeing to that. You know, we felt that was the best site for a relocation for everyone involved.
Yeah, nope, you're talking to the right people. Just making sure that it was coordinated.
Appreciate it.
Can I ask though, does BU operate any of its own shuttle services, and where, if they are serving Warren Towers, do they pick up and drop off passengers?
We do have the Boston University shuttle that does operate on Commonwealth Avenue. I think as a part of the discussion related to the bus stops, currently right now we do have a bus stop in front of Warren Towers. But I think as a part of the consolidation process that the MBTA is going through right now, we're also going to be interested in trying to better align where our stops are with the MBTA's stops as well. So, you know, us utilizing their stops. So that's a continued coordination point with the city as well as the MBTA.
Okay. I think it would be helpful to have a little bit more clarity on that in advance of the next meeting. I mean, I think specifically I understand one of the purposes of the university-operated shuttle system is to provide safe rides to people, you know, sometimes off hours or at times when people maybe are less comfortable walking. And so, you know, having the bus, the BU shuttle drop off down the street where then people have to walk back up to get to their dorm may not meet the public safety objectives that you have for the shuttle. So we just want to understand that the whole complex of bus activity has been fully thought through, and that if you do need to have a spot for drop-off directly in front of Warren Towers, that there is a sufficient accommodation made so that those drop-offs can happen in an accessible and an appropriate way. So I think just getting to clarity on that, on all of the busing operations in the vicinity would be important for us.
Absolutely.
Commissioners, other questions, comments? I have one which relates to the city's planned bike facility along Commonwealth Avenue here. Has there been, can you speak to any discussion that's happened with the team that is working on that project, and how, if and how the work being proposed here would interface with the city's project?
So we have been, again, in close coordination with John Monticelli and Matthew Peterson in particular, related to the city's proposed protected bike lane for the Cap 1 segment of Commonwealth Avenue. We're not resetting any curb line here, so I mean the geometry remains the same on the roadway. So from our perspective, we look forward to working with the city as the design details get a little bit further along. Particularly for this segment. I don't know if that adequately answers the question.
Yeah, I think it does. I mean, I think, we're obviously, but as you know, the city has been pursuing a project along this stretch of Commonwealth Ave, and will complement some of the improvements that were recently made across the street in front of the data sciences building and along Granby Street. So I think we're fine to kind of continue that. I will say that this stretch of Commonwealth Ave in front of Warren Towers, in large part because of both the number of students residing here and because of the first floor food retail services, there's a lot of conflict today at the curb with the unprotected bike lanes, and I think there's a little bit of concern on my part that the future condition, even with flex post protected bike lane, may not fully ensure safety, with delivery drivers who will sometimes find ways to block even flex post protected bike lanes. So I appreciate that you guys are not moving curb lines here, and I won't ask you to raise the bike lane up to sidewalk level as part of this project, because it does seem like that would be very much out of scope. But at the same time, I think, we are doing a project, and there will be some questions about making sure that project is implemented, along with the changes you're proposing, function well from a safety perspective for all. So I would just ask the university to recognize that we are sort of not asking you to incorporate the bike facility into this project at this point, but that there may, if we find that there are continued challenges related to the retail uses of your building and the way that the street functions, the city may be back for some discussion about how to better improve the condition at the curb here, and maybe doing something along the lines of what was done on Granby Street, of a raised cycle track or something that may prove a safer configuration. So it's more of a statement than a question. So. No,
absolutely. We both have a vested interest in the safety and in the conditions out here. We've worked very seamlessly with the city on improvements further up Commonwealth Avenue for the Kenmore Square, B Bridge to Packard's Corner area. So just look forward to continuing that conversation.
Yeah, we appreciate the partnership, and also recognizing that many of the people riding on Con Ave are in fact your students, and so we want to make sure that they stay safe along with the general public. So, all right, that was my only question, comment. Commissioners, last call. PIC staff or members of the public?
We're all set on this. Ken or Chelsea, it might be worth mentioning that you may be back at some point in the future for building projections and other more building-related items at this site.
For commissioners' context, we are we need to begin conversations with the planning department about some potential improvements to the facade of the building. We have not yet started those conversations yet, but what we're proposing is essentially improvements to the facade that enliven it, kind of per instruction that we received from the urban design team. So we look forward to starting those conversations, and at the appropriate time, we may need to come back to discuss projections as well.
Excellent. All right. Well, with all that, will you be ready for your public hearing in 2 weeks on November 7th?
I am confident we will be.
All right, excellent. Thanks, Ken. Good to see you, and we'll see you back in 2 weeks.
Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
All right, and now on to our last agenda item, new business 2, 1471 Blue Hill Avenue, Culbert Street, Dorchester, specific repairs on a petition by residences at 1471 Blue Hill Limited Partnership. Would the petitioners please introduce themselves, their affiliations, and walk us through what you are proposing to do?
Good morning. My name is Dan Riccadelli. I'm the architect for the project from Arrow Street. Thank you to the commissioners for having us this morning to talk about 1471 Blue Hill Ave. I'm just going to briefly introduce the project team. I'm joined by Scott Shaw, who's the developer from Lincoln Ave Communities, our attorney, Nicholas Zazula from McTurbot, Quilty, Miller, and Handley, and our civil engineer, Katie Cruz from Hancock Associates. So I'll start by giving just a brief overview of the site, where the project is and what we're proposing. So the site is located in the Mattapan neighborhood at the corner of Blue Hill Avenue and Culbert Street. The property is dashed in white here, so it's a vacant lot right now at this corner. We're also proposing, as part of this project, to improve the city-owned lot at the corner, which is dashed in red here. And we have more information on what we're proposing at that location further in the presentation. In addition to it being a vacant lot, there is an existing billboard on the site. We'll show some photos of the existing conditions here. So in image 1 on the bottom left-hand side, the site is actually across the street. So it's wooded with a chain link fence right now, vacant. This is the view looking across Blue Hill Ave. You can see the existing billboard here on the top right image. And on the bottom right, you can see the city-owned parcel, which is currently being used for parking at this corner between Culbert Street, which is here in the foreground of the image, and Blue Hill Ave, which is in the background. So the proposal for this project is a 41-unit, all-affordable residential building. We have been approved by the BPDA board through the Article 80 small project review process. You can see the unit mix that we're proposing here. We're also proposing, as part of this project, 12 resident parking spaces that are on site, as well as a 1,300 square foot community use space, which is on the corner of the project. And I'll point that out when we get to the renderings. So here's the view of our proposed project from the corner of Blue Hill Ave, which is off to the right-hand side, and Culbert Street, which is off to the left. You can see it's a 5-story building. The community space that I just mentioned is entered at this corner here, so a really prominent location for the community. The residential entry is further down Blue Hill Ave. It's, as I mentioned, a 5-story building kind of at the corner, but there's almost a 20-foot grade change across the site. So as you get up towards the residential neighborhood, it's actually a 4-story building. We go up a full story as you go up Culbert Street. So looking at an aerial view, you can see that grade change I just mentioned here. The entry to the parking is off Culbert Street, kind of at the end of our site. But still within our setback, our property line setback. The city-owned parcel that we're planning to improve is here. You can see it's mostly landscaped, and Katie can talk more specifically about that plan when she brings up the specific repairs. So Blue Hill Ave, again, off to the right-hand side, so streetscape improvement here. The city-owned parcel being improved on the corner, and then we have new street trees and a planting strip up on Culbert Street as well. And then the last item I wanted to point out from the renderings is the residential entry, which is off of Blue Hill Ave. So we're proposing a small pocket park as a part of this project. And, we imagine this will be a great spot for the residents, to enter the site, but also a spot that we can feature art. The main residential entry is this left-hand entry here, and then the bike entry is the other glassy entry shown here. So this will be the main residential entry, and then the community anchor entry will be at kind of the corner of the site. So I'm going to hand it over to Katie, who will talk to the specific repairs portion of the project.
Thank you, Dan. I'm Katie Cruz, a civil engineer with Hancock Associates. Like Dan mentioned, the site has frontage on Colbert Street and Blue Hill Avenue, and we are proposing to replace the sidewalks along both of those streets. This is a small site. It's a little over half an acre in total. And like Dan mentioned, there is about a 20-foot grade change from the upper end at Colbert Street down to the lower end of Blue Hill Avenue. We are not proposing to move any of the existing curb lines, so we would just be replacing curb in the existing locations. Dan, if you could maybe zoom in a little bit, that might be helpful.
Absolutely. Hang on, I'm just gonna get out of the screen.
Yep. So we're proposing new sidewalks that vary from generally 6 to 8 feet wide. We're replacing curb ramps across Colbert Street, Woodhaven Street, and Blue Hill Avenue. We're proposing to replace the reciprocal curb ramps across Blue Hill Avenue and Woodhaven Street that are currently non-compliant. There's an existing curb ramp on the other side of Colbert Street that was recently constructed and is compliant, so we're not proposing to replace that. Along Colbert Street, we have a permeable paver strip between the curb and the sidewalk. Going around the corner at the intersection, there's a small landscaped area next to the upper curb ramp. And then we have 3 curb ramps. There's actually about 1.5 feet of grade change through the intersection itself, which kind of led to needing a more linear pathway rather than having an open plaza space there. And a big portion of the city-owned kind of right-of-way in there is becoming landscaped, and that also accommodates a lot of the grade change within the landscaped area. Heading down Blue Hill Avenue, we have the sidewalk and then permeable paver strips with bike racks within them. We have 3 tree pits and landscaped areas proposed with 2 new proposed trees. One will replace an existing tree that failed, and an existing tree to remain in the center planted area. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, questions, comments? Hearing none.
Can I say something? This is Patricia.
Yeah, of course. Go right ahead, Patricia.
Yes. Thank you for the presentation. It looks like a wonderful project. Lots of new housing, great entrance, very conspicuous. I love it, love it, love it. I do have 2 or 3 concerns. If we could go to the plans, please. I would like to bring up a couple of concerns on the materials. Thank you. Okay, so the first one is the cobblestones pavers in the corner. Is it possible to use a poured-in-place porous paving material instead of the granite cobble paving?
Hey Patricia, this is Sean over at Copley Wolf. So the reason that the cobbles were proposed is as Katie had mentioned, through the slopes of the kind of the grade changes around the perimeter. Those areas are going to be more than 2%, so they were not really a compliant walking surface. And so the idea of, or at least the concept was, Patricia, to be honest, was to make that basically kind of a no-walk surface with a little bit more texture, and knowing that we would really kind of direct people to the crosswalks as shown. But yeah, the problem we ran into was just the inability to work with those grades to make those a walkable surface. Even though we'd really love to see that out there at the intersection, the grades were just not working.
Yes, I understand. But even if they're not compliant, we still have better materials that can work instead of the cobblestones, and we're really concerned about the roughness and also the instability, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to speak for the team, but I mean, I guess if you guys are comfortable with it, but yeah, we definitely know we do not have a compliant, a surface that will be less than 2% at those locations.
Yeah, I would love to continue this conversation offline if you'd like, one-on-one.
Sure. I mean, we definitely have permeable pavers, as Katie mentioned, around the bike racks, and if it's a continuity of that same approach, we could definitely continue to do that offline.
Yeah, well, I also have a concern out of those pavers because this poured-in-place porous paving material that we have been utilizing lately, and this is a new material that the city is using now. So I would like to have a further discussion on that. Please. Okay, and then something a little bit different when you were showing us the entrance and the beautiful pocket park with the stairs. I don't know if it's the rendering, but those stairs need some handrails on both sides.
Thank you. Yeah, that is just not shown correctly in the renderings, but yes, we do have handrails on the stair, and then a compliant ramp, actually a slope walk up against the building for accessibility.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you so much.
All right. Other commissioners, other questions or comments on this? Okay, PIC staff or members of the public?
I do have some comments.
Oh yeah, go right ahead, Deputy.
Hi, Julia Campbell, Deputy Chief of Streets. I would like to echo Patricia's comments. I also have some additional questions and thoughts about the existing curb line. I know it is the existing curb line. It's not a great curb line, and it does make the alignment of the crosswalks and ramps really tricky, kind of as designed. So I would invite you. Maybe we could just have a joint session where we could have Disabilities Commission and Public Works talk with you with some detailed feedback on this design.
That would be great. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Todd?
No, I was just going to actually request that you all include me in that conversation just so I can kind of keep an eye on things. I've got some ideas too.
Excellent. Well, hopefully this will be a very productive working session, and thank you for taking the time to work through some of these questions and comments with us. Hearing no other comments or questions, will you be ready for your public hearing in 2 weeks on November 7th?
Yes, we will.
Yes. All right. Excellent. Thank you very much. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
And with that, we have reached the end of our agenda, almost exactly at the 1 hour mark. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
You make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you all very much. See you in a few weeks.
Thank you.
Good day.
Thank you.